Welcome all to Humanity Unplugged podcast. I'm your host, Jermaine McCrimmon. We have an interesting one for you today, guys. This podcast will consist of a few things. And before we get started, I like to give a thanks and shout out to everyone on our Facebook page, everyone on all our media platforms, social media platforms. You guys are really doing your thing, and we'd like to say thank you for your continual support with the podcast and all our endeavors. I just want to say also to everyone, I put out a few videos in between these podcast episodes. It's on YouTube. You can check us out on Humanity Unplug. It's really cool to talk and share my thoughts and how I feel off this camera. Somebody is always there to hear a good positive word, and it's there. You can check us out on YouTube, Instagram, TikTok. Anywhere you look, you'll see some of the car videos I put up. Again, thank you guys for your continued support. This episode, Thursday, March the 6th, 2025, is called Sink or Swim America. And that title's because there's so much going on in America today, and we need to stay abreast of it. Also, around the world affects us just like we affect around the world. So I think it's just to call it that. And I just want to also mention that it's so important for us to reach out to the youth, the young people. We need to be a positive role model for them. Don't always talk to them when they're down or when they do wrong. Give them a word of encouragement also when they do good. So in this episode, folks, we got Canada, our prime minister. We got Trump, the president of the United States. We have some other topics we're going to talk about in this episode. So let's get right into it. I don't know if you guys are aware, but Monday or Tuesday, the prime minister spoke from Canada, and it was very, very interesting, and I like you guys to hear it. So here it goes.
Launched a trade war against Canada, their closest partner and ally, their closest friend. At the same time, they're talking about working positively with Russia, appeasing Vladimir Putin, a lying, murderous dictator. Make that make sense. Canadians are reasonable, and we are polite, but we will not back down from a fight. Not when our country and the well-being of everyone in it is at stake. At the moment, the US tariffs came into effect in the early hours of this morning, and so did the Canadian response. Canada will be implementing 25% tariffs against $155 billion worth of American goods, starting with tariffs on $30 billion worth of goods immediately, and tariffs on the remaining $125 billion of American products in 21 days' time.
We need to listen up, guys, because he's about to get warm, real warm. And there's a message within this message that we need to pay attention to.
Encore aujourd'hui, on se voit forcé d'imposer des droits de douane de 25%
have
sur
to impose
155
25%
milliards
tariffs
de dollars
on
américains
$155 billion worth of
30 milliards
U.S.
de
products,
marchandises américaines.
30 billion,
30 milliards de dollars de façon
30 billion
immédiate. Et dans
immediately,
21 jours,
and in 21 days,
125 milliards de dollars de
$120
marchandises
billion
de plus.
worth of U.S.
Today, we will also be
Guys, he's talking in French, and now he's going back to talking in English.
challenging these illegal actions by filing dispute resolution claims at the World Trade Organization and through the USMCA. But in the meantime, our tariffs will remain in place until the US tariffs are withdrawn, and not a moment sooner. And should these tariffs not cease, we are in active and ongoing discussions with provinces and territories to pursue several non-tariff measures, measures which will demonstrate that there are no winners in a trade war. Now, just like I did a month ago, I want to speak first directly to the American people. We don't want this. We want to work with you as a friend and ally. And we don't want to see you hurt either. But your government has chosen to do this to you.
Did y'all hear that? The man said, we don't want to see you hurt. But your government choose to do this to you. So he's expressing how this is done purely often what Trump wants to do. There's no need for this.
As of this morning, markets are down, and inflation is set to rise dramatically all across your country. Your government has chosen to put American jobs at risk, at the thousands of workplaces that succeed because of materials from Canada or because of consumers in Canada, or both. They've chosen to raise costs for American consumers on everyday essential items like groceries and gas, on major purchases like cars and homes, and everything in between. They've chosen to harm American national security, impeding access to the abundant critical minerals, energy, building materials, and fertilizers that we have and that the United States needs to grow and prosper.
So in other words, a lot of the things that we use here in America comes through Canada. There's a bigger thing that this is about, people. I don't know if you know, but fentanyl is really what this is about. It's about the drug game. And I'm going to talk about this a little bit later on. He might mention some of it here. So let's listen up.
They've chosen to launch a trade war that will, first and foremost, harm American families. They've chosen to sabotage their own agenda that was supposed to usher in a new golden age for the United States. And they've chosen to undermine the incredible work we've done together to tackle the scourge that is fentanyl, a drug that must be wiped from the face of the earth.
There you go, guys. This is what he's talking about. I told you. This is all underlining about money, fentanyl. Where's it coming from? They can't control the substance. Here we go.
So on that point, let me be crystal clear. There is absolutely no justification or need whatsoever for these tariffs today. Now, the legal pretext your government is using to bring in these tariffs is that Canada is apparently unwilling to help in the fight against illegal fentanyl. Well, that is totally false. Let's look at the facts. Our border is already safe and secure. Far less than 1% of fentanyl flows and less than 1% of illegal crossings into the United States comes from Canada. But we acted because we know we can always do better. We responded to concerns, including from the president, by implementing an ambitious $1.3 billion border plan. A border plan that includes generational investments in new AI and imaging tools to stop the flow of fentanyl in its tracks, stronger coordination and information sharing with American agencies, along with the deployment of drones, helicopters, and additional personnel to keep our border secure. Now, a month ago, as part of an agreement with the United States that paused the tariffs, we made further commitments. We appointed Kevin Brasseau as our fentanyl czar, a man who dedicated his multi-decade career in law enforcement to combating organized crime networks and drug trafficking. We designated 7 drug cartels, sick, evil groups who cynically profit off the pain and suffering of people on both sides of the border, as the terrorist organizations that they are. And just yesterday, we launched a new joint operations partnership supported by a $200 million investment between Canada's security and law enforcement agencies.
Bottom line, guys, the drug fentanyl is tearing up the world and taking over the world. The drug cartels are making $7 billion, $8 billion off this drug every year. Is big, big, big money. And Trump believes Canada is holding out and keeping some of this money. The United States want in on this money. The United States is saying the drug is coming in through Canada. Canada is saying it's not us. So it's a back and forth basically on fentanyl. A deadly drug used once can kill you. So now for the American people and for the Canadians to understand what it is, they turn it into tariffs, trading goods to make it look what it need to look like. But is it really about that? That's the question.
A partnership that will enhance the coordination of information and intelligence in order to thwart criminal gangs involved in the illegal fentanyl trade. And critically, our actions are working. As the U.S. Customs and Border Protection just acknowledged, there was a 97% drop in fentanyl seizures from January compared to December, to a near zero low of less than half an ounce seized in January, even with all the further enforcements and actions we've taken at the borders. In sum, we stepped up. We engaged closely and constructively with the president and his administration. We did everything we promised. We stuck to our word. And we did it because we believe in working together to protect our citizens. Now I want to speak directly to one specific American.
People, I want y'all to know that as I watch this video, it's going to be on our YouTube channel as well. He's not reading this off in any type of written down notes. This is all what he knows in his head that took place. He's speaking facts. There's no doubt about it that he's telling the truth. You can see it in his face. You can see the sincereness of his actions of what he's saying. But when I watch Trump do his speeches, he's always he want to be entertained. It's almost like he's acting. It's horrible. But I'm going to let you hear this part that he's addressing someone particular. Here we go.
Donald, in the over 8 years you and I have worked together, we've done big things. We signed a historic deal that has created record jobs and growth in both of our countries. We've done big things together on the world stage, as Canada and the US have done together for decades, for generations. And now we should be working together to ensure even greater prosperity for North Americans in a very uncertain and challenging world. Now, it's not in my habit to agree with the Wall Street Journal, but Donald, They point out that even though you're a very smart guy, this is a very dumb thing to do.
Y'all heard that. This only hurts the American people. It hurts Canadian people. This is sad that we're going through this. Because when you look at it overall, the man just told you what it is. You know, I stopped the video there. It's more to talk about, but it's okay. I want you guys to understand that when he was talking and he was speaking, it was very clear that he was serious. They willing to go all the way out with this. They want people to understand what is going on and what is at stake with this tariff. This next thing I want you to understand within this is who's affected. Who did Trump initiate this tariff on? And how does it play a part in our everyday life? Listen to this, guys.
President Trump is slapping stiff tariffs on America's top 3 trading partners, Canada, Mexico, and China.
They owe us a lot of money, and I'm sure they're going to pay.
Trump is imposing a 25% tariff on nearly all goods from Canada and Mexico, and an additional 10% on imports from China. Mexico's president negotiated with Trump at the last minute, putting the tariffs on Mexico on hold for a month. Meanwhile, Canada is planning retaliation.
Canada will be responding to the U.S. trade action with 25% tariffs.
Here's how Trump's new tariffs are different, and why many economists and politicians say you, the consumer, might have to pay the price. To measure the impact, let's look at the numbers. The U.S. imported roughly $893 billion worth of goods from Mexico and Canada in 2023. Nearly all of those imports will now have a 25% tariff, meaning if an American importer wants one of their goods, they'll have to pay that tariff to the U.S. government.
Consumers will likely notice this quite quickly in the cost of fresh produce at the grocery store.
Almost all of America's raspberry, strawberry, and avocado supply comes from Mexico, as well as most of the country's supply of beer and tequila and mezcal. On the other side, the U.S. gets about 80% of its frozen French fries, 70% of its lumber, and 60% of its maple syrup from Canada.
So, as you see, guys, already the basic needs and necessities of American people, we're going to pay the difference. This is going to hurt us on our fresh produce and other items we use on a daily basis.
It's a really big deal because at the moment we really don't have tariffs on any goods coming from Mexico and Canada under the free trade agreements that we have in North America.
In fact, 99% of America's natural gas imports come from Canada. On February 1st, Trump announced a 10% tariff on Canada's energy products. Trump's tariffs risk pushing Mexico and Canada into recession, as both nations send 80% of their exports into the U.S. But Canada is planning precision strikes against U.S. exports, and the impact of that could be contrary to what Trump claims.
The tariffs are going to make us very rich and very strong.
Since Canada has a much smaller economy, it can't impose the same impact on the U.S. But Canada is betting that if it causes enough disruption, Trump, who campaigned on lowering prices after a period of elevated inflation, will back down.
Like the American tariffs, our response will also be far-reaching and include everyday items such as American beer, wine, and bourbon.
Mexico's president struck a deal with Trump for a 1-month pause on U.S. tariffs on Mexico. In return, she agreed to deploy 10,000 Mexican soldiers to the border to fight fentanyl trafficking.
Y estoy segura que en este mes vamos a poder dar resultados.
Now, she's speaking in Spanish, guys. And the translation on this, however, is in English, but it's on the screen. Basically, she's saying that she's going to help with the Border Patrol by sending troops from Mexico to help assist the American people that's there.
De México.
China also signaled that it's eager to get trade talks going with Trump. While it's unclear what will happen next, experts say a trade war between the U.S. and its largest trading partners would hit U.S. income, hurt employment, and increase inflation. So if all of that is true, why is Trump so keen to use tariffs?
Number one is the people that have poured into our country so horribly and so much. Number two are the drugs, fentanyl, and everything else that have come into the country. And
Again, this is what I told you guys when the Prime Minister of Canada was talking. Fentanyl. The president want a piece of that money. That fentanyl is getting heavy money in United States. And they have no type of control of getting a hold of that money. So they're trying to set some type of structure to get some of that bread. It's crazy, but if this not true, why he keep mentioning it? Fentanyl, like that's the only drug in the United States. It's not. We have tons of drugs, tons of prescription drugs that he's not talking about at all, because we all know the pills is what's selling too. That's not oxycodone and all the rest of the Percocets. These pills, the opioids, they're going crazy. But he's just talking about fentanyl. Everything is fentanyl because it's hard to track it and the money is ridiculous.
three are the massive subsidies that we're giving to Canada and to Mexico in the form of deficits.
I think most people do see Trump using these tariffs as a bargaining tool. He wants something out of Canada and Mexico.
The White House said the duties would remain in place until Mexico, Canada, and China stop fentanyl smuggling and illegal migration. But there are some industries that might benefit.
The U.S. steel industry and domestic aluminum producers have been asking Trump to raise more tariffs against imported steel and aluminum. They say Mexican factories have been dumping a lot of very low-cost steel and aluminum in the U.S. against commitments that Mexico has made over the years, and that those low-cost imports have undermined U.S. producers who have higher costs and forced them to idle or close factories.
It's unclear how long Trump plans to leave these tariffs on. Some experts say that decision will be the biggest measure of its impact.
If the companies feel that Trump is just leaving these on short term in order to, get something out of Canada and Mexico, they're not going to rip up their manufacturing footprint.
At the center of all of this is the U.S.-Mexico-Canada agreement.
Our own Wall Street Journal reporting has shown that some of Trump's aides say that he's actually pushing both Mexico and Canada to renegotiate the free trade agreement that we do have.
And these tariffs on Canada, Mexico, and China might just be the beginning.
Eventually, we're going to put tariffs on chips. We're going to put tariffs on oil and gas. We're going to be putting tariffs on steel and aluminum and ultimately copper.
We also...
Did y'all hear that? So they're trying to put some taxes on everything that comes in and out of United States. Every place or any place we deal with is going to be forced to be paying for dealing with United States. It's amazing. It's amazing.
Also expect to see some confusion and probably delays at the borders. We could see goods backing up in warehouses as different trading partners try to sort through the new rules. So all of that is probably ahead in the coming days and weeks.
So now we have this. We know what's going on. That video was very informative. I'm happy I put that up for you guys. Again, this podcast you can see on Thursday morning around 5:30. You're going to see it. It'll be up on the podcast formats. And I want you guys to understand that this is really key for American people and for Canadian people. They're putting pressure. They're applying pressure. And the pressure they're applying is either going to make people bow down or turn up against America. So this is a thing we have to take key to and understand that it's a long haul with this. After 3 or 4 months, maybe you might see someone give in if they're going to give in. So we at least got 3 or 4 months of this before you see anyone want to sit down and negotiate or maybe renegotiate the free trade agreement. I want to share with you guys something else that I happen to run into. It's an awful thing. Father and daughter killed. And I just want you guys to hear about it and now let you really know what's going on. It happened. It was horrible. And I just want you guys to check this out. Listen up.
A manhunt is underway for two capital murder suspects who killed a father and daughter in Forest Hill. Good evening, I'm Steve Eager. Police say 24-year-old Adonis Robinson and 21-year-old Jacoby Russell are responsible for shooting and killing a local rapper, Ronnie Sibley, and his 5-year-old daughter Monday at a car wash. Fox 4's Dion Anglin has the latest from police. Dion.
Hey there, Steve. The police chief here in Forest Hill says the search is on for the two men responsible for this double murder. The chief also called them cowards.
Two capital murder suspects are now identified and subjects of a manhunt.
They're scared. They're cowards. They're hiding.
They are 24-year-old Adonis Robinson and 21-year-old Jacoby Russell, both of Fort Worth. Investigators say the two are the gunmen captured by surveillance cameras at a car wash Monday during the ambush and double murder of music rap artist Ronnie Sibley and his 5-year-old daughter, Armani.
We have public enemy number one, Adonis Robinson, who is also a registered sex offender. Public enemy number two, Jacoby Russell, who's on the run.
Public records show Robinson was arrested in 2019 and later convicted for the violent assault of a woman who was walking along a trail near Marine Creek Reservoir. Forest Hill police will not speculate on a motive in the double murders, nor will they say if or how the suspects and victims are connected.
I want you to know, guys, that what they're not going to tell you, we're going to talk about. This happened in Texas, Fort Worth, Texas, and this happened at a car wash where the young man was there washing his car, and his daughter was dropped off minutes before the shooting by the mother just to hang out with her father. And while he was vacuuming his vehicle, these two guys showed up in a gray Kia and unloaded their guns. Now, it is said, allegedly, that he was warned prior not to go to this car wash because allegedly the beef he had or whatever, they warned him not to go there because that's their territory. They don't want him over there. Well, he went anyway, and now an innocent victim. And this is what happens when the streets get involved. Bullets don't have names on it. When they got discharged from a gun, it doesn't have a name on it. And an innocent young lady, his daughter, who died at the age of 5, her birthday was just the day before. So this happened on Monday. Her birthday was Sunday, and now she's dead on Monday. And she's innocent, had nothing to do with this. She was just there hanging out with her dad. Now, I don't know for those who have kids, if you don't, once you do have a child and they're young like that, one of the best things in the world you can ever see is your child helping you clean, especially clean the car. It is a joyful thing to see the child picking up things, cleaning up, and you're working together. Y'all could be dancing or just having a good old time. And to know that that's the last time the mother going to ever see her daughter was a minute or two prior to that is just a sad thing. I remember me and my daughter, I used to do the dishes in the kitchen, and she wanted to do the dishes with her father. And one of the things I never forget is I used to get her a chair so she can stand up in the chair and she can play in the water while I do the dishes. Those bonding moments with your child, you never forget. My sympathy goes out to the mother of the child, to the father who rests in peace. He's no longer here. This is senseless crime to innocent people. If the father was into doing that, or he was a man that was into the drug game, anything like that, it's sad that they couldn't leave it as war or rap or whatever the case may be. Why do innocent people got to be involved? Why do innocent people got to be hurt like this. This is horrible. Broad daylight shooting, killing 2 people, and to me it's senseless. Why no one could just say, I'm sorry, my bad, I messed up, I didn't mean it. Maybe in some videos, we don't know yet, allegedly, but it's heard in the streets that this guy was saying some things or some work he might have put in. No one knows exactly what happened. It will come out, and I will give you guys an update and everything like that on it. I'm gonna go back to the video. I want you guys to hear what's going on.
Pointing out the Texas Rangers are the lead agency in the investigation.
Based on the music industry that he's a part of, it is all part of the investigation. And like I said earlier, we're on a fact-finding base. Everything that's being put out is being reviewed and analyzed by the Texas Rangers.
We know from surveillance images obtained by TMZ that Sibley was chased on foot through the car wash parking lot before he was shot. Police say it's unclear if Robinson and Russell could be hiding out in the Metroplex. However, they are the subject of a nationwide be on the lookout alert.
They are dangerous, they are armed, and we need you to please call 911 and let our police officers respond and take appropriate action.
So, again, people, in conclusion to this, a lot of innocent people die or are hurt from other senseless violence. The family loses a loved one. The people who actually did the assault, they go away forever. This is capital murder. This is what they're charging it up. And if you don't know Texas, they don't play. Texas, Alabama, South Carolina, Louisiana, New Orleans, Florida, they don't play. When these guys get caught, they're going to probably do life. They're going to do life. And being that they killed a young child, guys that's in jail going to make them pay again, because a lot of the guys that's incarcerated don't see their loved ones anymore. They got children they're never going to see again, or only see them for short periods of time. So for that loved one to not be there anymore, that young girl is just gone, pretty young girl. Let me just tell you guys, for her birthday, he was at her school too. And he was there with another young lady, little girl, and they took pictures together. The father seemed to be active in the child's life. And for you just to take him out and then you innocently murder this girl, little girl was slumped over in the car. Terrible, senseless, no regards to human life. They should get the death penalty if that's what they did. If it's found out these guys did that, they don't need to live. You don't do that to people, man. Just foul. And I know I might be wrong for saying that, but innocent child, little girl, you took out a little girl? What'd she do to you? Like, what's going on with America, people? It's so sad. It's senseless violence. It's crazy. Anyway, we're at the 33-minute mark, and I just wanted to let you guys know about the terrorists. I wanted you guys to know about how it affects globally around the world. And then I want to touch base on this right here. For all my listeners, please, we're here for you guys. I want to thank you guys again. Please join our Facebook Humanity Unplugged podcast page. We're trying to make everything grow. Let's share the news, share the information. We can all get better off information. Doesn't hurt. I see you again on Tuesday. Everyone get home safe. Until then, peace.